Evening all. Welcome back to Beyond the Lane episode 39. Please get involved with your comments throughout the evening. We're back, Nige. We're back. Beyond the Lane. Here we go. Yeah, it's good to be back with you, man. Let's welcome in our guests. Matt, how you doing, man? Thank you for jumping on.
No, really good. Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
You can hear me.
Hello, Nige. Hello, Eugene. I'm with YouTube Royalty. So always an honor to be invited on this show. Really good. Thank you.
Cheers, man. Thank you for coming on. And Eugene, how you doing, man? Thank you. Your last minute guest.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm doing well. Yeah, I'm a substitute, Plan B. So, but I'm glad to be on as always. Dan, Nige, Matthew. Good to be on with you boys.
Cheers for coming on. Cheers. And Nige, man, how you doing?
I'm fantastic, mate. I got to say, Eugene, bloody good substitute, mate. Bloody good substitute. And big up, Matt, as well. Good to have you on. How are you, Dan? You good, mate?
Yeah, I'm great, mate. It was great. I mean, yeah, what a day, eh? What a day. And we're going to get into it tonight. Morgan Gibbs-White and all that. Typical Spurs, eh? Well, we'll get into it. Yeah, cheers, guys, for coming on. Big up to everyone in the chat. Hope you're all good. Please smash the like button. Please subscribe to us if you haven't already, to myself and Nige Pure Coys. And I hope we have a cracking show tonight. Before we get going, there was some important video last night on Dan Hotspur Hood's channel about a young Arlene. Is it Harley needs help? So please keep an eye out on his channel. He's going to be doing a charity stream in a few weeks. So yeah, if anybody can go over there and help him, that'd be great. Well, the show tonight, guys. Well, you've obviously seen the thumbnail. The Tottenham transfer buzz. Well, there was a buzz, wasn't there? But the buzz seems to have disappeared now, isn't it? Look, we had one here we go, then we had another here we go. But I don't know what's going on with that Morgan Gibbs-White deal. We'll be discussing it. It looks like it could be off. Yeah, so frustrating, isn't it? As Spurs fans, we just wanted to get him in, get it going, and move on to the next one. So tonight we're going to be looking at the transfers we've got in so far. We'll be discussing if we're going to bring in any more big transfers. What are people thinking? Or is it just a load of hype right now at Spurs? Obviously, talks of investment. You know, we don't really know what's going on. A lot of rumours. And obviously, we still need to get a load of players out. So, yeah, we'll be looking at that. Not long now. Pre-season's friendlies are going to start. I think we've got one coming up at the weekend. And then we're going to start to see what this Thomas Frank team's starting to look like. So, look, let's get into it, guys. Let's have a cracking show. Big up to everyone in the chat. Let's go and say a few hellos and see who's here with us tonight before we get going. Let's have a little look here. We got Badger Pins reacts. Big up Badger Pins. Coys. Thank you for being here. Big up Eugene. How you doing? Hi everybody. Big up Levy out. Big up Jimmy. Big up to everyone. Hope you're good, man. Thank you for being here. Big up to Scott M. Big up Dan. Razzle Dazzle. Evening all. And who else have we got coming in? Mark Swift. How you doing, Mark? Look out, ladies. Nige's here. Nige's been very busy the last week, man. Lord Ronnie Trotner, big up to you, man. Big up, everyone. It's time to part the deal for Morgan Gibbs-White to focus on other targets like Arias, Russ, and Paulinia. Yeah, man, it's just getting boring now, isn't it? This Morgan Gibbs-White drama. Charlie 42, evening all. Hope you're good.
My son.
Big up to June. Managed to catch a live episode for the big one. Cheers, man. Razzle Dazzle. Is it Spursy transfer without being in control of it? Yeah, it's the same old, isn't it? This club, man. You get your hopes up, and then that. When does this normally happen? This sort of thing, you know. It's only Spurs, right? Only Spurs. Yeah. And big up to Nick Blake. Big up, Nige. How you doing, Nick? Thank you for being here also. So, look, let the first question of the night to the panel, and anybody can take it first, really, is how you feeling right now? Did you get caught up in all the excitement last week, or are you very level-headed? So let's, let's go with Mark. Sorry, not Mark. Matt. Let's go with Matt.
Yeah, I was surprised. You know, I've been following Spurs for best part of 50 years. So I was surprised with the speed and the actual amount of money that we were bidding and paying for players. That is not normally Spurs. We're normally the Manu Solomons or the Stamboulis or these type of bargain basement signings. So I was pleasant. The Kudus deal, and in actual fact, I thought if out of the two deals, the harder deal I was expecting to be Kudus because of the West Ham Tottenham kind of rivalry. I was expecting the Gibbs-White to be the easier of the two to do, but as you said earlier, if any team's going to get caught in a drawn out deal, it's Tottenham. So yeah, pleasantly surprised. I think obviously you're hearing so many whispers and so many rumours. If it is outdoor or outside investment, maybe that is the reason behind it. But I'm trying to kind of connect the dots. And when Levy came out with that Europa League's not enough and it's Champions League and winning the Premier League, he's never done that before. So I'm not sure if those words were from him or if it was from Enoch, but pleasantly surprised with those two signings. And if the rumours are true that we're looking to go even deeper into the kind of that caliber of player, amen. What also just pleases me is how early in the transfer window we've done this type of deal. You imagine normally Levy trying to do this 2 days before the end of the transfer window, and then we hit complications. Then he says, we was going to get Gibbs-White, but they kind of blocked us, the typical grey deal that he tried to do the last day of the transfer window in January. So I'm pleased that he's given himself enough time to deal with any rejections and come back with a better offer or go through the legal complaint. So long may it continue.
No, so you're still fairly positive then, right? And there's some good points, Matt, there, because I was getting a bit fed up with it all today, to be honest, all this Morgan Gibbs-White drama. But you still, I like the way you're looking at it. Spurs are moving faster. And I think that's important. It's a very important point because there was a massive buzz last week with those two here we goes. I know it's all kind of gone a bit tits up, but look, positive signs, with the investment. We're going to talk a bit more about that later. But yeah, so great points there, Matt. Eugene, what about you? How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I agree with Matt. I mean, when I woke up and I saw the news that would triggered the release clause, I thought I was still sleeping or dreaming, or I woke up in a different universe or timeline. We never do that. So this was shocking. Definitely great to see. Definitely unexpected. I'm still positive about this transfer, but for me, regardless of what happens, we see that the intent is there. So for me, the fact that we actually went out and triggered the release clause, 60 million, whether it's all up front or 2 payments, but regardless of what happens with this transfer specifically, we're seeing the intent. Usually when the rumors are coming out, we're looking, we're exploring, we're monitoring, right? All the bingo words. But now, we're actually being active. We're approaching, we're talking. So there is a difference, and I'm not sure if it's attributed to Vinay, but since he came on, kind of we're doing things a bit differently, from the intro pressers to interviews to the way we do business. It's exciting, and again, it's not even about specific players. It's about our intent. This whole talk about Adam Wharton. I mean, it's exciting. Whether it's because of the investment or naming rights, we're not sure yet, but something is definitely happening. And it sounds like it's not like in the old days where Levy was the one who controlled everything, right? It seems like it's a combination of people now. And that's great to see. I'm excited.
Good. So you're still positive. Yeah, you haven't let it get to you, the drama with the Morgan Gibbs-White deal, which is good, man. I'm pleased, man, because it does get to you. It does get annoying. I just find it very frustrating, and it seems to be that I'm sure Spurs are working on other players. We just don't know about it. But everything seems to be focused on this, and I've got a feeling I don't really know if it's going to go through or not. It's going to drag on in any case. But look, there's some good comments in the chat. Just before I go to Nige, Raya Man, evening all. Torn between ditching the Morgan Gibbs-White deal and sticking with it to teach Maracas he can't be. Insert the words of choice there. I get that, man. I totally get it. International Observer, evening to you. Can anyone confirm how Spurs actually activated this clause, please? Did Spurs have finance discussions with Forest officials about how transfer funds over? I just don't know. I just don't know what's going on. It's crazy. And Jimmy Hotspur, everything about this window so far screams it's not Levionic at play. Yeah, good point, man. Good point. Nige, man, you have obviously been very happy lately. I've seen you on streams and very, very positive. You still got that positivity?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, you wouldn't be a proper Spurs fan if you're not a little bit up and down at times. And, I can remember the middle of June, we were all like, come on, the transfer window's open, we're doing nothing. And then everyone's like, don't worry, financial year starts 1st of July. As soon as that's out, we'll be doing. And then we got to about the 7th or 8th, we're still doing nothing. And most of us, or a lot of fans were like, oh, here we go. It's going to be another typical Spurs window. And then bang, bang, we get these two magnificent signings. Hopefully one's still going to get over the line. And everything's changed. You know what? With all the goings on with Morgan Gibbs-White, I think we seem to have forgot that we've signed Kudus. He's kind of gone under the radar. And I think Matt's right. I thought he was going to be the harder deal. I thought that one would drag on all summer and we'd get him near the end of the window. So the fact we've got him early is great. He's already in training with the Spurs team. He's going to have a proper pre-season with us. I think Morgan Gibbs-White gets done. I really do. I can see it getting done now. I got to read something I find really interesting quickly, and this just sums up the negativity of Spurs fans, and me included. And I think we've all probably got a bit of it inside us. And it says the Gibbs-White situation is another completely unique thing I've never heard of before. Add it to Lasagna Gate, Champions League demotion due to Chelsea winning, kicked out of the Conference League for having COVID, Mendes goal, Mora handball, etc., only happens to Spurs. And it kind of does. Whenever there's something new happening, it always seems to happen to us.
And you're forgetting the Doherty loan thing when we forgot how many loan players we have, or we forgot what the rules are. The Cardoso sell-on clause that we didn't get any money because there was a mistake. So we seem to be involved in these situations for some reason.
Dire handball when we give a penalty against Newcastle, and they change the rules just straight after that, and it seems to happen a lot with Spurs.
Oh dear. Okay, so let's pick up on that Morgan Gibbs-White. I had a question for you guys about him. Let's have a look now. Let's have a look. So do you guys all think that the deal's dead? Everybody in the chat as well. Or do you think this is going to go through? It's going to just drag on the whole of summer? And also, are you that bothered if it doesn't go through? So it's kind of two questions there in one. Anybody take it really?
I think it's gonna go through. It might take some time. I think we might, add some more money to the deal to get better terms. Not to pay the whole fee up front. I'm not sure. According to Wolfie, who's a Wolves fan, the Marinakis is upset because he wasn't aware of the release clause. I guess the contract was done before the Marinakis came in. Again, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but that might explain why Forrest is so upset right now. I still feel the deal is going to go through, but if it doesn't, I'm really hoping that now we're exploring option B and C, which I'm we should be doing. So he's a great player. I'd love him on Spurs, but for 60 million, I feel like there might be some other options that we can go with in case it doesn't work out. But I'm 90% sure it's going to work out. I'm not a lawyer, but I've listened to a bunch of people who seem to know what they're talking about, and the issue here is between Forest and the agent. If the release clause was leaked, once it's activated, it's activated. So again, I don't think anybody knows exactly what's going to happen. I'm still confident it's going to go through, but just in case, we definitely should be exploring other options. As for 60 million, we can get a pretty decent player in the worst case scenario.
The cost is because he's English, isn't it, as well, Eugene? You know, English players always cost a hell of a lot more. So you think it's still going to happen. Matt, what's your thoughts on it? Do you think it's going to happen or not? And would you be unfussed if he comes in, or you'd be upset?
He wasn't a player that I thought we were even looking at. And number two, I didn't think he would consider us with his stock at the moment. I thought he was a Man City stroke, hasten to say, Liverpool player. I thought he was that level. Yes, we won the Europa League, but you know, I thought, I'm really surprised that he said yes to Spurs, if I'm absolutely honest. I think he ticks so many boxes. You know, he's the right age, he's Premier League experience, he's a leader. Obviously, living in the Midlands, I know quite a few Wolverhampton fans who were absolutely gutted that he was sold when he was. So for me, I think he can play three positions. I think he goes straight into the team as well. I think he's got what we lack. He's got that drive. He's got that winning mentality. He's always pointing. He's always digging players out on the pitch. He's not accepting second on the pitch. And I think we've got too many. Oh, it didn't bounce for us today. We've got too many of those players. I think he's one of those that will make sure the ball bounces for us on the day. So, yeah, I absolutely expect the deal to happen. It might be that we end up paying a little bit more. But again, this seems to be a slightly different business model that we're running at the moment. You know, so long may it continue. I just can't see, after us getting this level of 60 million and announcing a medicals due, for it not to happen now. I just think he's done the right thing, Gibbs-White. He's come back and he's trained with Forest. He showed he's professional. He's a good pro, you know, he's a really good pro. And I'm going to say something. I think if I was James Maddison, I would be tying my shoelaces a little bit tighter come pre-season, because I think he can play in the 8, the 10. He can play wide right. If I was James Maddison, I would be getting fit a little bit quicker.
Yeah. No, I like the signing. When I heard it was happening, I was happy with it. English, attacking midfielder, creativity, can play multiple positions, English. I mean, it made a lot of sense. We need strength in depth. You know, there's a lot of games next season. Maddison can't stay fit. Kulusevski's out for months. So I thought it was a really good signing. And I think there's more to come from him. You know, people say he's that Nottingham Forest's best player. He creates a lot of chances. If you look at his kind of stats, they're not fantastic, but he's the kind of player who sets up before the assist sort of thing. You know, he gets that ball moving. He's good in transition, moving it up the field. He's skillful. He's got a pass on him. You know, he played against us at our grounds. Remember that through ball we did to Elanga? And that goal that killed us. Do you remember that? So he's a quality player, and I think he'd really do well at Spurs. Nige, just before I go to us, just go to the chat quickly. Lord Rotnage Trotter said, I couldn't care less about it now. It's very exhausting. I kind of feel like that now. It is exhausting for me, even though I do like him and I hope it goes through. How long is the club going to let it go on for? It's really, really frustrating. He said, June said, don't kill the messenger. I think as the days pass, it's going to get increasingly unlikely. So you could just see the contrasting views from people in the chat, people on the panel, that, you know, some people think it's going to go through, some people not. who knows where this is going to go? Jimmy Hotspur says it will go through once Forest's boss calms down and gets a replacement. I mean, I'm sure I saw something not long ago that they're in for Jacob Murphy, right? Don't know if any of you guys saw that they're putting a £30 million bid.
Jacob
Ramsey. Sorry,
Yeah,
Ramsey, yeah. So yeah, maybe that's his replacement. I don't know.
Just one thing, sorry, to touch on what Matt said, which is completely spot on. Outside of his skill set, our team is full of passengers, and we need a leader, right? That's what we've been lacking for years and years.
Is he the captain, Eugene? There is he their captain?
Captain, and he's a real leader on the pitch. So, and that's what we need more than anything else. We need a strong character on the pitch to be a leader, and that's what he brings. I know, again, not even looking at his skill set, just his personality on the pitch, his leadership ability. This is exactly what we need.
No, that's why that Nottingham Forest are fighting to keep him, aren't they? You know, he's their main man, and God, I don't know what's going on. Just one more comment in the chat, and then we'll go back to it in a minute. I say now 60% yes and decreasing. So every day goes past, the harder it's going to get that deal over the line. Now, Nige, do you think it's going to go through? And say if it doesn't go through, you're going to be disappointed?
I'll be gutted if it doesn't go through, to be honest. I think it is exactly what Tottenham have been crying out for years. I think Matt and Eugene both right. He is the kind of player, and we are lacking them so much, especially in the midfield. So many of our midfielders go hiding. And Morgan Gibbs-White doesn't. He is the kind of player who, when we are goal down, will pull up his socks and drag the team through. And I think he is an absolute must. I'd be prepared to wait right until the end of the window for him. I want him that badly in a Spurs shirt. Do I think it goes through? I'm saying yes, but I have no idea. I'm hoping so, but nobody really knows, do they? There's, different reports every day. Half of them say he's not coming. The other half say they still expect the deal to go through. I can't see how it doesn't, but it's happened before, hasn't it? It happened with Chelsea and Palace. So I think Forest are just flexing their muscles and trying to scare Spurs off, to be honest, and hope Spurs just walk away. And I really do hope Levy or whoever's in charge now of transfers dig their heels in and say, no, we want this man.
It's funny, with everything that we all say about Levy, I wouldn't want anybody else right now to be on our side than Levy.
Exactly.
This is his forte. So that's why that gives me more confidence, because I think Levy is the master of, lawsuits and complaints and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think as well, conversations would have happened prior to the bid going in. The conversations would have been to Gibbs-White, are you interested in coming? Yes. So that there's a very big tick. Number two, Tottenham have, whether it's a bid or they've made it clear to Nottingham Forest they're going to offer 60 million. So there's another big tick. So it's slightly different, in my opinion, with the Elise and Chelsea, because I think Chelsea were probably bidding for 4 players in that position. So if the Elise one got a little bit complicated, they went to player B, C, and D. I think with the Gibbs-White, because he's such an integral part of our recruitment plan of this summer, he knows that he's wanted. Tottenham know he wants to come. So whether it's an additional 5 million or whatever.
Can he force the move, guys? Do you think he can force this move through transfer request? You can't keep an unhappy player, can you? But saying that, he's happy, but he just wants to step up, doesn't he?
That's why I said he's a good pro, because he could have easily, look at Guacares at Sporting Lisbon. You can not turn up for training. He hasn't done that. Let's not forget Berbatov refused to train for Spurs. Modric refused to train for Spurs. So great players do it, and he hasn't done that yet. So I think he's probably thought, his agent probably said, look, play the good cop, go in, train, be bright in training, and maybe by the end of the week have another chat with the owners and say, look, what's happening? What's happening? I think he's made it clear to Forest that he would like to move to Spurs. I don't think the owners of Forest thought Spurs were even in the conversation. So I think that's probably upset the owner. I think he was more prepared for a Man City or a Chelsea. You know, I don't think he thought, because we finished 17th, I don't think he thought Spurs, he would have looked at Spurs. And I think that might have dented the owner's ego a little bit.
Can I just add quickly that I think, more like you say, Morgan Gibbs-White has done everything right and professionally so far. I think if he really wants a Spurs move and nothing happens by the end of the week, he will have to force that move if he wants it.
Well, we'll see. Let's welcome in Deji. How you doing, man? Thank you for joining us tonight. How you doing?
Thank you, and apologies for the late arrival. And Matthew, good to see you. Nige, Eugene, Dan. Look, I actually think the Morgan Gibbs-White deal's a done deal. He's already made it clear to Nottingham Forest that he doesn't want to be there. He wants to be a Spurs player. I agree with you, Matthew. I think Nottingham Forest fans, Sherwood Forest, Longleat Forest, Yellowstone National Park got a bit ahead of themselves last season, where they started to feel like they were all part of the big boys. And Morgan Gibbs has reminded them that you're not one of the big ones. You had a good season, but you're not one of us. And the fact that he wants to come and join Spurs, I'm delighted. And for me, and I don't know how far we've got into it, but that finally, I feel like I've got my club back. Crying out loud. Morgan Gibbs, Kudus, bloody hell, Kulusevski, Madders, Richarlison. Do you know what I mean? And now, you know, I think I said to you, Dan, a couple of weeks ago, and Eugene, that I wasn't looking forward to the Champions League. And it will be the first season I was not looking forward to the Champions League because of how pony we were last season in both competitions. Let's be real. I was happy with the Europa League, but we were crap. Right now, I'm feeling a little bit of chest, and I'm telling Chelsea fans, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, hang back. Do you know what I mean? Because my club is back in the building. So, look, he comes through, Wissa comes through, and I'm hearing today that it might not even be Adam Walton. It could be a Belabor. And if that happens, mate, honestly, job, game, set, and match. And let me not over-excite us too much, but this is a long time, Dan, that you've seen me positive about our club. So just to say, I've got renewed energy tonight.
Well, you've given me some hope. You've given me some hope.
Deji, you were spot on until you said the Richarlison. I was with you. You know, it all made sense, and then you snuck in Richarlison, and then I'm like, whoa. In Champions League, I don't know if I want to see him on the pitch.
You know what? But the one thing I will say, and sorry, not to move the conversation and take it left, I'm looking at Thomas Frank and the job he did at Brentford. Yeah, I wasn't overly enthusiastic when we initially got him in, but the more I research and look at what he's done at Brentford, and Bremo came from the second division in France. This guy must be licking his lips thinking, mate, look at the talent I've got at my disposal. And I think I remember saying this to you, Eugene. I said, if Thomas Frank can get a tune out of the so-called dead players, then the rest of the league is in trouble. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Bissouma. If we can get back Prime Bissouma, who can stop him? Do you know what I mean? I'm talking about if Richarlison can get goals.
Yeah. That's what you get, Deji, you know.
Deji's frozen.
Talking Bissouma and Richarlison and, you know, the internet gods, they're like, that's enough.
The internet picked him up.
We've heard enough, Dej.
Oh, the internet knocked me out there, sorry.
Yeah, he went in. You came in hard today, man. Really, really positive stuff, Deji, man. Look, you've kind of perked me up a bit, man, and got me believing again because I'm just getting sick of this bloody Morgan Gibbs-White, this Nottingham Forest chairman. What is he doing? What is this guy doing?
I understand it. It's delay tactics. What you got to understand is Nottingham Forest don't want to be seen to be losing their best player to a team that finished 17th last season. It doesn't make sense. And so they've thrown this in. But the more you look at it, the more and more it's done. The truth is he's angry at the fact that we knew the terms of the release clause. Everybody knows everyone's business in the Prem. So he's either naive or really stupid. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we all know each other's knickers. We've triggered it. And you know what? We've even showed him a little bit of respect. He needs to hush his gums, and his legal team ain't doing a good job. Because normally Tottenham come in with a bid way below the bloody asking price. The fact that we've gone and just said, you know what, there you go, mate. It means that we're actually giving you your respect, saying, you know what, we're not even going to piss you off or waste your time. We'll give you what you're asking for. Give us our man. That's it. So what's he pissed off about? There is no case to be answered here. I don't know what KC they are paying to delay this. They are worth every money. But at the end of the day, it's come at the start of the season or come the game against PSG, I expect to see Morgan Gibbs in that starting 11.
Yeah, well, let's hope so, man. Let's hope so, because the news today sounds like it's not going to happen, but who knows? Who knows? Let's hope it does. Look, let's move away from that, man, because I'm a bit sick to death of it, really, to be honest. Every day I'm looking at it and it's just driving me nuts. Let's move on to something a bit more positive. You know, this Mohammed Kudus, right? Guys, what are you thinking about him? I mean, for me, it's the sort of player we need, taking West Ham's, well, I wouldn't say his best player, but one of their better players. He brings that X factor, scores goals outside the box, in the box, headers, dribbling, running at players. He's a proper winger. We haven't got a player like that. So I think that's a really good signing. Yes, he didn't have the best season last year, but he's playing in a rubbish West Ham team. So look, we just want the player that we saw the season before. Because I'll tell you what, when I watched that Kudus before, I thought, that's a player, man. I thought that's a player we need at Spurs. And then we've got him, £55 million. So let's go to Nige on this one first. Kudus, you still buzzing about the signing?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said earlier, we've kind of like put him to the back burner because everything's been about Morgan Gibbs-White. But he is the player who was going to get us off our seat and on our feet. And we have missed that player for years. I can't remember the last time we had that player that actually got me off my seat. For me, it would have been Bell, probably. So yeah, I can't wait to see him in a Spurs shirt. I really can. I think he needs to play off the right, though. What we can't do is make the same mistake as West Ham and playing in multiple positions, because if you want to get the best out of him, just keep him in one position. He can play in different positions, but for me, start him off the right. You can cut inside. You got Porro then going down the right, and I think we're going to look really dangerous up front.
Yeah, it's what we need, man. Definitely. We need better attacking players, 100%. And, you know, him coming in well with Morgan Gibbs-White, and although he hasn't gone through yet, he's really upgrading our kind of attacking threat. So, I hear you, Nige, definitely. Matt, Kudus, I know you mentioned a little bit about him at the beginning of the show.
Massive signing. I think we struggle to have players that are good on the 1v1. He excels in the 1v1 duels. He's quick. He's Premier League proven. And I just think he's a massive lift to what we have. He will buy players like Solanke, Maddison. If Gibbs-White comes, he will buy them time because he will automatically attract opponents to him, because they're already aware of his skill set for 2 seasons at West Ham. So that would automatically give other players more time on the ball. I think he maybe got a point to prove, because obviously I think he had to deactivate his account, his social media account, because all the West Ham fans gave him absolute pelters. So I think he'll want to hit the ground running at Tottenham. I think the fans will adore him, because we've been crying out for that Aaron Lennon / Gareth Bale player that we haven't had. The only player that hasn't even a hint of that type of ability is Odegaard, but he's still learning his trade. So this is a guy that comes in straight away, lifts the crowd, Champions League football in front of him. I just can't see any negatives. Yes, he probably didn't have statistically the best season, but put him in that team with a fit and raring to go midfield. I think he's gonna terrorise. And speaking to quite a few Chelsea fans who love Cucurella, the new Cucurella, and I asked them, who's the one player that gave him problems? Straight away, they said Kudus. He's the only player that gave Cucurella problems. And that's a good enough endorsement for me. So if he can do the damage against Chelsea home and away, then I'm a happy man.
Fantastic stuff. And Deji, man, You must be loving this coming, nicking
Yeah,
that player
you know
from
what?
West Ham. I
You
know
know,
who you on the phone to.
mate, I've been turning these West Ham fans inside out. Lawless won't even look at the WhatsApp group with the chat that I'm in. Look, sometimes too much trying to move forward is also can be a negative. And what Tottenham have done is we've gone back to our identity. We've always had a player that is a showboater. You know what I mean? We had David Ginola, we had the Gareth Bale. Right now, we've got Kudus. I was watching clips of Kudus last season. The goal where he's running through the team bangs, the overhead kick against Man City. On his day, he's unplayable. And how many times did we watch Brennan Johnson on the right hand side and go, bloody hell, mate, just take him on, just kick it straight and run past him? Well, we ain't got to worry about that because Kudus is going to do exactly that. The other thing that makes this even a better signing, because if it was under Ange, I'm not so sure I'd be as excited, is that Frank is going to get him doing what we need him to do, which is beat your man and whip the ball in. That's why Solanke didn't get any goals. He didn't get any goals because no balls were being whipped in. You can guarantee Kudus is whipping that ball in. So we should be extremely excited. And I have to say, I've loved his interviews. The fact that he said he's got Spurs in the heart, I don't think I've ever heard that from any player. Big up to Kudus for that, because for that, he's a legend. He deserves a statue right next to that Kick King on the high street where I met Eugene when he was after the Nottingham Forest game. And the other thing, so look, Kudus for me is the main guy for Spurs, and we can rest easy. And like you said, Matt, with the Morgan Gibbs-White signing, we are looking dangerous, like threatening. You know, and one thing I've seen about teams like City, they don't like the Ezes. That's why when Zaha was there, they had the same problem. They don't like players who are not robotic, the ones who would just do whatever, 1v1 flair. And he can play on the left, by the way, as well. So I'm excited. And if we can back that up with a Wissa, who is legit, and an Adam Wharton, mate, it's Tottenham for me on that Kudus signing is top four. But the thing I've remembered now, just the one thing I wanted to say, if you watch that clip, I know you guys have.
Which one, Deji?
The clip when he's in, when he's just come, he's doing his medical.
Yeah. We've seen that. Yeah.
I have to say, and I want you guys to correct me. That's probably the most confident interview for a new signing that I've ever seen, because he basically told us, I am coming to be the main man at Spurs. I'm going to showboat. I'm going to show you what you haven't had. Don't worry, sit back and enjoy. And for that alone, I said, bravo. Bravo, Kudus. Kudos to you. Welcome to my club. So I'm excited. I'm fully excited. He's going to do it. And I just hope we just add the final two pieces to the puzzle that for me makes me feel like we can compete this season.
Well, he definitely believes in himself, doesn't he? And he's just talking to the fans. You watch this. He's really building the excitement. He's confident, so confident, and it's great to see. Right, we need that kind of maverick in the team. If you think of the past, the Bales, the Ginolas, Paul Gascoignes, we've had a number of these type of players, and I really hope Kudus can kind of, if he can do anything. I know those names I've just said there are like bloody hell, man, such good players, but. If you can give us that, just get our bum off our seat, man. Celebrate goals, get excited. That's what we've lacking. We've been lacking that in the last couple of seasons, I think. Son is, obviously older now. He's not the same player. But no, fantastic. And let's go to Eugene, because Eugene's all about quality. I know that, especially when that's around managers and players as well. Eugene, is this a top quality player in your eyes?
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you just watch him at Ajax, he was great. His first season, West Ham, was really good. Last season, he was played out of position due to Bowen. But, I mean, as the boy said, just his attitude, he has a chip on his shoulders. We've always been, told that we're too nice, right, as a team. We have Sonny, we have, we're just a nice team. We need more dark arts. We need more players with attitudes, with personalities. Like Romero, even Richarlison. So having him and his personality and his attitude, it's going to be a positive. It gives the manager options depending on how he wants to set up and who play against. Where Johnson, with the way he plays, which is completely different from Kudus. So it's going to give Frank options depending on who we go up against and the scoreline. So that's great. But ultimately, what's awesome for me is now we can go to a rival or we can go to a club like even Forest that's around us that wants to compete with us, and we're saying we're going to get your best player or second best player, and there's nothing you can do about it. And this is how Man City, moves Liverpool and United in the past. So just that's amazing to see. But Kudus as a player, like I said, I'm excited. I read somewhere today, and I don't know if it's true or not, that there's like a obligation in the contract where he's going to play at 10, or I'm not sure. I hope not. I really hope that Frank can have flexibility about whether to play him at a 10 or on the right. We'll see, but the quality is there. So I'm super pumped. We've been
He's going to
complaining
hit the
the last
ground running,
couple of years.
Eugene, do you reckon? Do you reckon he's going to hit the
Sorry.
ground running? You're going to get instant
Oh yeah.
output
Oh,
from
for
him?
sure. For sure. We've been complaining for the past 2 seasons that Johnson can't take his man on. His skill set is completely different from what's expected from a winger. And Kudus has all the traits and attributes of a top winger. So I'm excited to see that. He's
I
a
want to go
flair
to this
player, and I
question
love flair.
great points, mate. Everybody about Kudus. Everybody's excited. Everyone's buzzing about the signing, and this is what we want. Looking at the chat as well, everybody's really happy with the signing, and it's fantastic to see. Let's just hope Spurs keep it going in this transfer window. Just want to go to this question in the chat. Carlos, big up to you. Serious question for the panel. Do Gibbs-White and Kudus sign under Ange?
No,
Why?
I don't think Ange likes those type of players. I think he likes players that control. I think he likes controllable players. So look, as much as I think Brennan Johnson for me has always been like our Trossard. One thing that a good friend of mine, Arthur, used to make is the runs that Brennan Johnson, he makes the same run over and over and over. That's hard. That's discipline. And Kudus ain't going to do that. Like Kudus ain't, he's not going to just be running into empty space like a madman. Like, look at how Solanke is used as a battering ram. He's a donkey on the pitch. You're thinking, bloody hell, mate, I feel sorry. Take him off after 50 minutes. I feel sorry for the kid. He just run up and down for pointless balls. And I think because of that, he wouldn't be able to he wouldn't be able to win a Kudus. He would have to get somebody who's really happy to be there. Do you know what I mean? An up and coming type who, do you know what I mean? Whereas Thomas Frank, Kudus is looking at, Thomas Frank is saying, look what I did to Embremo, and I'm going to make you better. Kind of thing. Yeah, I'm going to let you just do your thing. You crack on. Don't worry about having to defend. We're not playing the high line anyway. And I think that's the difference. And I think those players would have been wise to that fact as well. Because even Cooley, if you look at Cooley as well, he worked him like a dog. I'm not surprised by any of the long-term injuries our players sustain. He works them like dogs. And that won't be happening under Frank.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're not going to see crazy high line, inverted fullbacks, press. It's not going to be that. It's going to be a lot more controlled, a bit more organised. Yeah, it's going to be totally different under Frank. Fullbacks keeping the width. He's going to. Hopefully, those injuries will reduce a lot next season. Big up Toxic Headshot. I hope you're good. He's saying that unconfirmed reports. Spurs are now putting in a complaint in claiming Nottingham Forest are in the wrong. I hope they do, man. I hope they do. Guys, let's move on to the window so far. So we brought in Tau, we brought in Tayaki and Kudus. Guys, what's your thoughts on those other two signings? Anybody could go first, really, man. Just let us know. Just go for it.
I'll go first quickly. Underwhelming for me. Tau. Listen, I still think he might be a decent player in a couple of years. But for me, the left-hand side is a worry. I think we have a lot of left-sided players. I don't think any of them have any real quality at the moment. I think Odebear's talented, but needs time. Same with Tau. And then there's Mikey Moore. And obviously we got Solomon. He's probably going to go. Sonny's coming to the end. So for me, I wanted better than Tell, but I'm prepared to give him a chance. As for the young Japanese kid, I've not seen anything of him, so I can't really comment. But he is highly rated. But are we going to send him out on loan? Is he going to be playing first team football straight away? I just don't know. And obviously, we signed Danzo as well on a permanent, which I think is a good signing. But again, not someone who gets straight in your first team.
Look, this Japanese guy, like, you know, if you read the scouting report, it's fantastic, but, you know, who knows? You know, it's completely different. You know, coming from that league into the Premier League. I mean, I heard that he could play left centre back. So was he cover for Van der Ven? I don't know. It's really hard to say. You know, it could be good, could be bad. It's a bit of a punt, really. £5 million. Guys, what's your thoughts on the young Japanese centre back? Anyone else?
I mean, nobody knows, right? Coming from a J League to the Prem is a different animal. So, but yeah, for 5 mil, it's worth the punt. If he becomes a good, you know, player in a year or two, it's going to be a steal. Tal is a different story. I agree with Nige. I'm not the biggest fan of Tal, especially for 30 million, especially with Mikey Moore in the wings. For me, it's not even about who is coming in. Right now, our issue is the outgoings, especially on that left-hand side. You know, Solomon, I mean, Sonny, I really want him to go right now on top. We have Bissouma. There are a lot of players that need to be moved out for us to free up some squad spots to bring in the players. And now we're hearing rumblings that Bissouma wants to stay and run out his contract. Richarlison doesn't want to go. So for me, that might become a big issue.
No one wants to go now, do they?
Exactly.
They're all excited for this new project, right?
I think they just want to run down their contracts and get big signing bonuses. I think other players and other clubs are doing the same thing. I think so. That's an issue for me.
That and the fact that whoever picks them up won't be in the Champions League. And I think, generally speaking, Richarlison wants to play Champions League football. That's part of the reason why I wanted to come. The same with Bissouma and the others. The one thing I would say about Kota Take is that Japanese football is on the up. And he's now a Japanese international. One thing you know about Japanese players, they are well organized and well drilled, especially on the defensive side of their games. So just to say, even though I haven't watched much of the J League, I would say that we are getting a disciplined defender who is 6'3", almost 6'4". He won't be he's no slouch, mate. He's actually quite quick. So I think we might be getting another Van der Ven in the making. It's just that we don't know him yet. Do you know what I mean? But I think he's got the potential. Look, guys, when we got Van der Ven, we were all like, who? Let's be honest. I was like, who? Why are we bringing in Van der Ven? Look at him now, all wax lyrical about it. I'm just saying that Kota is good cover. I would rather he play if we get an injury to our back line than Ben Davies. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, Ben Davies, you know, he's just there, you know, in the team, in the squad for his experience and his voice. You know, he shouldn't really be playing a lot of football. But look, again, it's just how you think of the signing, right? You could be positive about it. You could be underwhelmed. It's whatever, however, everybody thinks differently about players.
Sorry,
Deji, go for it.
The reason why I'm a little bit upbeat is because of the Frank factor. This is not Ange. If you look at that Brentford team, that is one of the most poniest teams I've ever seen in my life on paper. No God. I mean, as for the spicy Spurs, the Scotch Bonnet FC Red Hot Chili Peppers, I can't understand it. But there's a geezer who plays, is it right back or left back for Brentford that I thought, bloody hell, he's not bad. So for me, what I'm saying is, if anyone can get a tune out of unknown players, it's this man. So if it's good enough for Frank, dare I say, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. Come on, my bloody car. This is what I want to sing. No, do you know what I mean? Sorry, I'm not going to sing tonight, but honestly,
it's good. I love the positivity, man. We needed it after this week of Morgan Gibbs-White rubbish. I want to go to Matt. and there's a question from Razzle Dazzle. Do you think we have two types of attacking lineups now? One to counter and another to play against a low block? And we could talk a bit about Frank, you know, because I haven't heard from Matt, a little bit from Eugene, but not a little bit from Deji because I've seen some of his shows. Matt, what do you reckon?
Yeah, look, I think just to finish off what Deji said, I think the signings of Gibbs-White and Kudus, they raise the bar, they raise the level, they raise the kind of the consistency of the team. So players like Tao, Odebert, Mikey Moore, they've got to step up to the plate because the level will be so much higher, so much more consistent that there's your benchmark. You know, last season they kind of had a free swing because so many players were underperforming that they could almost fit between the cracks. Once Gibbs-White comes into that team and Kudus comes into the team, that's the level. You know, there's nowhere to hide. That's what I expect of you week in and week out. So just by that alone, obviously Frank, the manager, will set the kind of what's required from the players. But I just think when you look in that dressing room, you look across to your left and your right, you see players like Gibbs-White coming through the team and Kudus. You have to step up your performance because, you know, that's the level. So in regards to that, I think we'll certainly be a lot more consistent amongst the squad. What was the? Sorry, I missed your question. What was your question again?
Oh, do you think we'll have two types of ways of playing on the counter attack and beating low blocks?
Possibly. I think at Brentford, sometimes teams took them for granted, so we could almost sneak up on teams and hit them on the break and hit them on the transition. I want to see him solve that little bit of a question mark of, you know, 70-80% of the games will be the favoured team, and will he be able to unlock teams when they play the low block? Because very few teams play the low block against Brentford, you know, because they probably played Brentford thinking we can beat. He opened up, and obviously with players like Visser and Buemo and that Kevin Sade, they could hit you on the break quickly. So he's got that to do at Spurs. But yeah, for sure, I think when you've got players like Kudus who's so good in the 1v1, I'm hoping Maddison can stay fit next season. Gibbs-White certainly can pick a pass and unlock a stubborn defence. Why not? I think we've got players. I'm hoping Kulusevski's injury is not. I've heard rumours Christmas, but hopefully he's back before that. So we've got very few players that can unlock those stubborn defences, but we've certainly got the players who, if teams play a little bit more of a high line, the pace that we're now going to have with Kudus, Solanke, Tell's not slow. I still think we've got players that can play both systems. So, but I don't want us to stop there. I still want us to get players like Visser. If the Jacob Ramsey rumour's true, you know, we're still looking at players to kind of supplement what we've got. So, yeah, I'm definitely hoping.
Yeah, I've got a question coming up, Matt, and the panel. I've got a question in the chat coming up soon, and I think Jimmy's beat me to it as well. He's already prepared for it. I don't know how he knew, but yeah, I had a question prepared. But just going from what you said, Matt, I mean, I've been crying out. We've all been crying out that Spurs, when they want to upgrade this team, they need to go for the first team players, man. They need to go for that. I don't want potentials. I'm sick to death of potentials. Okay, maybe one or two after we've got our first team signings. So when I see, and that's probably, I got excited last week when I saw that second Here We Go. I nearly fell off my chair. I couldn't believe it. So when I see Spurs going out, trying to improve that first team, yeah, that's what we all been wanting as fans, right? And obviously it's linked to this investment. We'll talk a bit about it a bit later. Yeah. This is it, isn't it? And let's just hope it keeps going. So let's go to that question. And Jimmy's kind of asked it, and it's a little bit different to me. But assuming that Morgan Gibbs-White goes through, how many other players do you think we need, and what positions? And also to add on to this question, it's the quality, isn't it, that we need now, right? What players do we need? I mean, everybody's talking about a number 6, right? A defensive midfielder. Yeah. I mean, 100%. That we need that, right? So maybe Deji, you go first. What's going on there?
Yeah, so look, there was an exclusive that Spurs reached out to Brighton today. The two players they think that we might be, one of them might be for sure that we're after is either Matoma or Belabor. Matoma for me makes sense because actually you have Kudus, you have Gibbs-White, and then if you got a Matoma, mate, it's done for me.
Don't tease me, Deji. Don't do this to me.
But you know, so we need a left winger because Tell's not the guy, Odebear's not the guy, Mikey Moore ain't the guy. We ain't got the guy. Richarlison's not the guy. Left wing. Then it's been confirmed, and Dan, you know, we've been talking about it all summer, and I couldn't believe it when it was confirmed. Tottenham are legitly interested in Adam Wharton. In fact, we're ready to meet. We're ready to spend big money on Adam Wharton. He solves the sixth problem. You know, I think it was Rodney in the chat talking about a Rodri type player. But there you go. It's Adam Wharton, and he's not going to be cheap. But you know, the way Spurs are moving, I think they could put in an offer, and they've made that clear. You get Adam Wharton, you get a Matoma, and then I do think legitly, if Spurs want to be taken seriously, we need cover for Udogie, and I would like us to go out and get Robertson from Fulham. I think Robertson and Udogie can battle it out. There's enough games for the both of them. Get those three players sorted, mate. Mate, sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. Honestly, they're free. Job done.
Mate, I mean, that would be unbelievable, man. On that, honestly, I'll go to Nige in a sec, but that would be absolutely unbelievable if Spurs pulled that out in one win. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's crazy stuff, man. Never seen it before. Like, I mean, that Wharton. I mean, what was the figure Palace are coming out with today, guys? Do you remember? Is it a 9? Is it 9 figure?
3 figures. So I reckon it's going to be 100 million, don't they?
100 million.
It's gonna be like 70,
million.
probably 75. That's probably
that's what they want. We probably wouldn't offer that, but
I mean, he's a player. He's English as well. The ceiling's so high. His experience. We've seen him dictate that midfield, keep the ball. Yeah, man. I'd love to have him at the club. I mean, there is talks about him that we've made a second bid. I don't know what the truth there is in that, but there's definitely something going on with that. Nige, number 6 for you. If we can't get Wharton, who else would you want?
do you know what? I would love just going. I'd love Matoma, by the way. Matoma would be it. I'd be fully like we are challenging for titles. And Dan, you wouldn't have me on the show again. You'd be like, no, don't bother. But you know what? I think Robinson's a must as well. I think, but not for cover for Udogie, for competition, because I think Udogie needs it. Number 6 for me, yes, I'd love Wharton. But you know what? I'm going back to being a little bit Spursy here, and I'd say I would take a Hayden Hackney. You know, I think he's a really good player. I know he hasn't got Premier League experience, but if we're spending a bag load of money on a Matoma and on a Robinson, I'd quite happily get a Hackney in. Just realistically, we're not going to be spending £300 million.
We're dreaming here, guys. We're properly dreaming it. Aren't we? Going crazy, man. Matoma.
I think we could do 180, 190. No?
What's that?
We could do 190. I think we could just fall short of 200 mil this summer.
Look, but when managers build teams, right, they don't get it all done in one window, right? You've got January, got the summer after. You know, this is the whole thing, and we're going to come on to the investment because something's going on for Spurs to be throwing this money around. But guys, what I was going to go to Eugene next. Now, left back. I mean, I think we need a left back. Udogie needs competition. The Fulham guy, what's his name? Robinson, isn't it?
Robinson, Anthony Robinson.
Yeah, 10 assists in the Premier League last season. He defends, he attacks. He's a quality player. I mean, Fulham will probably be asking around 50 million for him. So you know, we can't look. We ain't got an endless pot of money, right? And we can't go cherry pick all the best players from all the other teams in the league. I mean, it sounds wonderful, but you know, do we need to rein it in a little bit? Are we getting a little bit carried away, or should we just keep getting carried away? You know, let's have some fun.
I mean, let's have some fun. For once, we deserve to be carried away a bit. But as I mentioned before, I mean, all these transfers, they depend on the outgoings. I would love Mitoma, but if Son stays, Mitoma is not coming in. I mean, spending 30 million on Tell, Son, Mikey Moore, Wilson, Odeberg. Mitoma is not going to come in, right? Same thing with Robinson. Well, with Robinson, it's different. I would love him. He's my guy. I mean, Pochettino is trying to ruin him, but I love Robinson. But given the homegrown issues, I feel like it's going to be Sirkin perhaps. I think we might go cheap on the left back, which honestly I might be okay with if we get our other business done. For example, Nige, I think you mentioned Hackney, good player, but we have Archie Gray who's young. I feel like for the 6, we need somebody who can come in and be the starter right away for now, especially if Bissouma is going to leave. So Hackney in isolation, good player, but him and Archie Gray are too young to start for us. Whereas
He's 23.
yeah, but I mean, on the level, I just don't think he's ready to start for us day in and day out. Adam Wharton is younger, but I feel like he proved that he can be that starter. And having that English spine, Gray, Wharton, Madison, Solanke, that'd be amazing. I know Lord Rodney is mentioning Polinia. I mean, I like Polinia, but for us, he's 30 years old, and he is old. I mean, I'm not sure why it didn't work out for him in Byron. And it also, I'm not sure what Frank is looking for in a 6. If he wants a destroyer, then yes, Polinia might make sense. But Polinia, I think, is limited on the ball a bit. So it just depends what Frank wants. But just knowing us, we don't usually buy 30-year-olds. It might be a loan, who knows? But I don't see Robinson just because he's going to be expensive and we need to buy in other positions. I don't see Mitoma just because unless Son leaves. I do, though, see us getting a big 6 or spending a lot of money on the 6. And if Richarlison somehow leaves, hopefully we can get one more striker in.
So
But
what's
if he
realistic,
stays,
guys? What's realistic, right? Obviously, the rest of the transfer window. I know we obviously want all these positions filled. What
3 players then.
number 6 and a left back and a forward? What, another 3
And a
signings?
center back maybe.
Another
But
centre back
again,
as
it depends
well?
on Ben Davis and Romero. If Romero stays, I think we're in
I think
decent
he's
shape.
staying now. I think Romero's
Yeah, if he's
staying now, isn't
staying,
he?
I mean, and we still need to figure out what we're doing with Phillips and Vuskovic. I think they're all going to go out on loan. And if Davis stays, what's that?
I said I would have liked to have seen Vuskovic. That's the only thing that made it strange in signing that Kota Take is like, when does Vuskovic come in? Because I think he looks like he's ready to play and play now. I would have liked to have seen Ashley Phillips last season. Look, I think Spurs will probably sell. I think if we're a serious club and really serious about this new dawn, I remember Eugene, I said we should have sold Son before the start of last season. Son has to be sold this summer. And I think Solomon has to be sold this summer. None of this loan crap. Brian Gill needs to be sold this summer. Even if you sell him for 5 million, we're raising funds. Do you know what I mean? But start to get rid of the so-called dead wood. And I don't mean Son as dead wood, but I feel like he's a legend and I want to remember him as so. Brian Gill just hasn't worked out for him, so unfortunate. Sell Manor Solomon. And we have a few other lads who are on the periphery like that I just can't remember. They can be sold also. And you know what? At a push, I think Spurs are willing to look at offers for both Bissouma and Bentancur. And actually, I wouldn't be adverse to losing both Bentancur and Bissouma in exchange for an Adam Wharton. I think we do that. That is serious. That's serious, sensible business. Because what you don't want to do is lose any of your big players. And at the final push, if a Saudi team offers us 60+ mil for Richarlison, then I'll bite your hand off.
60. I would sell him for 10 mil. Just go.
I don't think he's that bad, you know.
He's just taking up a spot.
He's just injury prone. You can't rely on him. You can't rely on Richarlison.
Yeah.
He's injured all the time. Yeah.
Richie has to go. Bissouma. And honestly, I would sell Kulusevski. I know it's controversial, but Kulusevski, for me, he does not have a position. He's not really a winger. He has no pace to be on the wing. He's not really a 10. His passing range isn't there. And if we get our business done with Gibbs-White, I just don't see where Kulusevski plays. On the right, we have Kudus. In the center, we're going to have Madison, Gibbs-White. I just don't see. I'm not saying he's a bad player. Kulusevski, I rate him. Very good player, good footballer overall. I just don't see where he fits in this team. So honestly, if we get a good bid, personally, I would sell him.
But Eugene,
that's controversial.
Eugene, I think Deji made a great point a little while ago, and he says, "Frank, we don't know what he's going to do with these players, right? He's going to what do you call when you're bringing back someone from the dead, right? You're going to get them back playing again. Like we've been slating players last season, thinking, oh man, they're rubbish. But you never know. You never know.
But where does
Frank,
he play then?
you know?
That's my question. Where does
Who's
he play?
that?
Given
I think it's weird because I think he's definitely not going to be on the wing. So I actually see it as he's battling for the number 10 with Madders, even though I think Morgan Gibbs should also be in that 10. But then people are saying
there as well, potentially.
Yeah.
So.
And then you got Kudus. The other thing that I've always thought, why didn't we do this? I don't know why anyone just hasn't tried playing Kulusevski left wing. This whole Arsenal Arteta where you play everybody on the wrong side of the pitch, I just don't get it personally. Play a left-footed player on the left-hand side. And actually, I've always wondered why, if you can play him on the right and you can play him in the middle, why haven't we ever tried him on the left? Just again, just a thought. Especially if we don't get someone on the left-hand side.
Oh, guys, there's a lot to sort out.
Isn't it a great problem to have, though? Isn't it a great problem to have, Dan?
Yeah.
Strength we're arguing about what players start.
Yeah, you need strength and depth. We're in the Champions League next year. We want to do well in the domestic cups. We've got to push up that league. We want to try and get as high as we can. So we do need players, but some need to go out. They have to go out to give room for the new players. Some of the younger players get a bit of game time. Who's going to be loaned out? A lot to do, man. A lot to do. But Matt, what's your take on that kind of question? I don't think you've answered that one. Realistically, 2 more, 3 more.
I think 3 players that can actually go straight into the team. I think that's what Tottenham need. I think Anthony Robertson from Fulham, I think he's 27, 28. I think he goes straight into that team and doesn't skip a beat. I think we need number 6. Again, somebody that is kind of commanding. Doesn't have to be the silky. I know controversial, but I wonder what Thomas Frank would have done with Højbjerg.
Yeah,
had he have stayed, and yes,
I like Højbjerg. I liked him.
I thought yes, he wasn't the most athletic of footballers, but I just wonder under a more disciplined manager like Thomas Frank, I think Højbjerg would have looked far more effective than the helter-skelter football that Ange played. And what I find really bizarre is the Arsenal fans are bigging up the Norgard signing, who's 2 years older, and Højbjerg keeps him out the Danish team. He's substitute for the Danish national team, and Højbjerg plays in his place.
There you go.
So, I just find it confusing why, a lot of the YouTubers are going, sensible signing, Norgard, sensible signing. We had Højbjerg, and a lot of the fan base wanted him out the door. And I think if we can get an upgrade on Højbjerg, so I think Paulinho might be a loan.
What about the Juventus bloke?
Great
Douglas
mentor
Luiz?
for your. Yeah, I think. Again, living in the Midlands, I know a few Aston Villa fans, and they say that the breakup with his girlfriend, it's not a physical thing. I think mentally he's not quite in tune with football since he split up with his. She's beautiful, by the way. Since he I can't remember her name, the footballer, but
Alicia Lehmann,
Alicia Lehmann, or whatever her name is.
Oh my God!
Since he's broke up with her, his mind has been elsewhere. So I'm not sure.
Stay clear, man.
Listen,
it sounds
if we
like
got him, I would. Yeah, listen, he's still better in the number 6 than what we've got at the moment. But my first choice would be somebody like Paulinho from Bayern Munich or Wharton. I think Paulinho would be perfect on a loan for a year, to mentor your Archie Grays and your Bergvalls and just be around the dressing room. Archie Gray, just watch how this guy prepares for matches, how he trains, how seriously he takes his discipline on the pitch, his discipline off the pitch. He'd be a great ambassador for the young pros that we've got, like, you know, whether Devine stays, Archie Gray, Bergvall. Just watch this guy for a year. Just take a leaf out of this guy. I think he'd be perfect for Spurs. He's got a point to prove. Never quite got a chance at Bayern Munich. We're offering him Champions League football. He's probably not going to play every match for Spurs. And then take your pick, Basuma or Bentancur. One of them probably will need to go.
All right, let's stop just for a second. Guys, please go and subscribe to Nige Pure Coys. Please go and subscribe to Deji as well. We'll bring their links up in a minute. If you haven't, please subscribe to myself and smash the like button. Much appreciated. Big up to everybody watching. Thank you for all your comments. I mean, on what I'm reading here is a lot of people think Wharton. Jimmy said he's a game changer. I think he is, but he's definitely a game changer for us in our midfield. We really do need a player like that. And Lord Rodney Trotter, he's also talking about Paulinho, really likes him. So maybe it's the case that if we can't get Wharton, then we get our Paulinho on loan. We'd have to get somebody in that central midfield, in more defensive type player. So look, there are options out there. David Clark says that Palace owner will be fighting tooth and nail over Wharton. Yeah, he's like people said, he slapped £100 million price tag on him. That's crazy.
Can I ask you a question,
right?
Dan?
Yeah, of course.
I want to get your guys' opinion with Sarr. Like, for me, Sarr is not good enough to play at the 8 for us, but I wonder why he was never given a chance at the 6, because he does have the attributes to play the 6. So no, what am I missing?
I don't. So look, I did this thing on my channel where I was going through all the players like Sarr. I'd be happy to move on.
But at the 6 though.
No, he's not technically. He's not technically good enough, Sarr. He's good up and down. He scores your goal. I think what's happened with Sarr is that since Andrew's been there, he's lost his way a bit. He's kind of fallen off a bit. I think he needs a bit of coaching going into him. And I think Frank might get a bit more out of Sarr. I think Frank likes a player like that, up and down. He likes the work rate. You heard it in his interview, what Frank said. He come out and said everybody has got to work hard. That's a minimum, right? So, look, I don't know. I would sell him. I would sell Basuma. Too inconsistent for me, but you know, he's piping up, isn't he? Saying he wants to stay. So look, this is what happens now when the club are a lot of positivity around in the Champions League next season, spending the money. Players are not going to leave easily. Guys, let's talk about expectations now. Let's move this along. Now, you know, the reports of spending money, bringing in first team players. Obviously, we haven't got it over the line yet. As fans, the fan base generally, are their expectations going to change? And all you guys on the panel in the chat, are your expectations starting to slowly change? Now you're seeing Spurs actually take some action in this transfer market. Let's go with Nige first.
There's a long way to go for me, but if we had got Morgan Gibbs-White over the line, 100%, I would be looking at minimum top 6. If we can get all the players we need, if we can fill that number 6, if we can get another left back, maybe another striker, along with Morgan Gibbs-White, and get the players out we need to get out, I don't think there's any reason why we cannot guarantee ourselves a top 6. Listen, it's not going to be. I think the top 4 kind of are away already, aren't they?
Top 6,
you look at Man City. Top 6, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, probably Chelsea. You look at them as the top 4. I think we'd be battling with Newcastle, Villa, possibly. I was going to say United then. That's crazy. We would be battling with Newcastle and Villa for that 5th, 6th, 7th place, I think.
I think that's quite fair, Nige. Definitely. I think if we bring all those players in, we could be pushing that and even maybe more. I know Deji's very, very... Let Deji speak. What do you think, Deji? You know, if we get all those players in, what are you saying?
Look, the thing is, I can't backtrack from all the receipts that people have of me online. Hear me out. I couldn't understand for the life of me why Tottenham Hotspur couldn't get the best of the rest. Literally go down to Bournemouth, take a Semenyo or a Kirkes. Why we couldn't go to Brighton and bring in a Matoma? Why we couldn't go in and get Kudus from West Ham? Why we couldn't get the Embremos, the Wissers? We have got Kudus. It was either Kudus or Bowen for me from West Ham. We're about to bring in Morgan Gibbs. We're about to bring in a Wisser. And based on, the kind of murmurs, it could be an Adam Walton. Yeah. So what we're doing, best of the rest. We know with our eyes, those 4 players, if signed at Spurs, already make us top 4. Guaranteed. Because they're Prem proven and they hit the ground running. All it has to do is just systemic stuff. That's what we're asking for. So I look at Tottenham, if we're able to get those or similar ilk type players signed at Spurs by the end of the summer, then I think it's a 4-horse race. I think Liverpool, especially if they bring in Isak, I think they could do it again. I think Man City in that Club World Cup look absolutely dangerous, especially with the 3 signings that they've brought in. Absolutely, they're just changing that dynamic. And look out for Doku this season. He's going to be a madman. And that Cherki, what a player. Then you're looking at Chelsea, João Pedro. They didn't have a striker. João Pedro's already levels on Nicholas Jackson. And that whole kind of double pivot of Caicedo and Reece James, very, very interesting. It's a new dynamic. I think they will be very tough to break down and beat. And then it's got to be Spurs for me. Based
Newcastle,
on
Newcastle, no.
I think Ilanga doesn't start for them, so I'm still worried. Is Ilanga better than the Leicester lad that's on the left wing that I thought we should have gone in? Barnes, yeah. It's a Harvey Barnes-esque type signing for me. And if they lose Isak, then they're done for. That Frankfurt striker, he's all right, but he's no Isak. So I think Newcastle could be slightly more lightweight this season. Villa, they're not even in the equation, and the Red Hot.
You're writing them off already.
Who? Yeah, forget them, mate. Mate, they're 5 minutes of it's done. I won't be speaking to any Villa fans this season unless a miracle happens. And then the final one is that the Red Hot Chili Peppers are probably the biggest joke so far this season. What have they signed? They've signed Norgard, Madueke, and they've signed Kepa.
When they signed that striker,
Matt, you talked about starting 11, and then signed Zubimendi. Yeah, go on.
And they signed Gorkrez yet?
Oh yeah,
Gyökeres, they've not signed him yet, but he's going to go over the line. But when I started to become a barrister and did my kind of questioning, my leading questions. No Arsenal. When you ask an Arsenal fan, what are you expecting from him? They're all saying, hopefully 15, 20 goals.
What?
Then really what you're signing is Ollie Watkins. So I can't understand what the Arsenal fans have been shaking their bum about. I don't think Gyökeres is that guy. I don't rate the Portuguese league, I'm afraid. And so yeah, their signings are naff, and I wouldn't be surprised if we finish above Arsenal this season.
Bloody hell, Deji. Wow.
I'm back.
I'm not defending Arsenal, man. I'm not defending Arsenal. I'm not defending Arsenal. I hope we do.
Zubimendi is not better than Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey had to leave, but Zubimendi is not better than him currently. He might become better than him. Madueke, does he start ahead of Martinelli? No, he doesn't. Kepa doesn't start ahead of Rea, and Norgard doesn't start. So they've brought in squad players when Matt is absolutely right. If any team that is serious about mounting the challenge or winning the league, you bring in players to start, not players to sit on the bench. And there's only 4 teams that have done that so far, and that includes our club.
Fair play, man. Fair play to you. So expectations. So you reckon 5th, Deji, right? Yeah. You reckon best of the rest? Yeah. 5th, 6th,
4th or 5th.
4th or 5th. Yeah. So that's Champions League, right? 5th. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Eugene, expectations for you, man. Are they changing slowly, or are you being cautious?
I mean, I agree with Nige. Top 6 is reasonable. Just if you look at all the clubs around us, the top 4, top 5 clubs are getting better. It's an arms race. You see all the business that's being done. And Newcastle with also doing business. I agree with Deji. I think Villa is going to fall off because they have to sell some players for PSR reasons. The Martinez is gone. I think they're going to have to sell somebody else. But top 6 is definitely reasonable. My biggest question is whether we'll be able to compete on multiple fronts. As we saw with Ange the first season, right? We finished 5th. It's much easier to have a good league finish if you're only competing for the league. And one of the issues that fans had with Frank is that he didn't do as well in cups as they wanted to. He went out to some poor teams. So my question is, well, it seems like the squad will be deep enough for the first time in a long time to have options. So I do expect a top 6 right now, especially if we get the number 6 that we need, right? If we get the 3 players that Matt said we need, which I agree with, right? If we get a 6, a defender, and maybe a striker, definitely top 5, top 6. But for me, even let's say if we finish 7th, I want to see us go deep in cups because that's our best chance to win some silverware. So a top 6 finish and a deep cup run is what I expect.
Rising, the expectations are rising in the fan base. Definitely are.
Assuming we get our targets.
Yeah, we have to get it over the line. And Matt, what about you, man? What are you thinking about this season?
Yeah, look, I think we've got some work to do. I think my gut is telling me Richarlison needs to be moved on. My gut, just because we cannot get him on the pitch, and I think he had a detrimental effect on Solanke because Solanke was just playing game after game after game in this crazy basketball system that Ange was asking us to play, and slowly but surely his energy levels went, and he picked up that injury in January, and in my opinion he was not the same player when he came back from that 6-week knee injury. So we need another attacker that's going to take the workload, and there's not going to be a drop off from Solanke. So I think somebody like a Robinson, Paulinho, the guy at Nice, is it Guessan? Is it that the guy we were linked with a couple of weeks ago, who can play left and down the middle? We need somebody, a Rashford-esque, not Rashford, but that type of player that can play left and down the middle and give Solanke competition and respite. So we've got a reasonable fixtures at the start of the season. I think our first 10 games aren't too bad. So if we can get off to a reasonable start, obviously not 8 wins in the first 10, I'm not expecting that, but if we can get off to a reasonable start and we get that belief, the fans start to get after the players and we start to build a winning and we create a song for Frank like we did for Ange at the start of his first season, I think 5th, maybe 5th, depending on who we bring in for the rest of the transfer window, maybe 5th. We've still got work to do. I'm not resting on my laurels with White and Kudus. We need more than that.
Yeah, I agree.
Look, I'm going to go to the chat, but for me, guys, you're very, very optimistic. I mean, look, I look, okay, if we get these signings in, I may change, right? I may change my prediction, but I think if we can, I'm sticking to it. I'm not changing yet because nothing's done yet. Yeah, we've got Kudus in, fantastic. Tayaki, they're not really exciting me. So I need to see it. I need to see these players in, right? And then I may change my expectations later on in the window, right, before the start of the season. But for me, if we can finish 8th, I mean, that's set up. We're 17th, man. There's a lot got to go into this team, right? They've got to get used to his system. I don't think Frank's a very fast starter as well, looking at his history when he's managing teams. So look, I'm still cautious. I'm the sort of guy, I need to see these players hold them shirts up. And I don't even trust the here we goes anymore now. You know, I'm not making that mistake again.
I know
Here
the
we
way,
goes, man. Honestly, like I need to see these players coming in at Tottenham. More work's got to be done, and I'm holding back a bit. You know, we've got time. You know, I'm not giving my full prediction yet, but at this stage, 8th, competitive in the cups. Trying there, but look, I wouldn't be happy in the cups if we go out to someone, you know, we should be beating. You know, I won't be happy. But look, I just think I've been hit hard since last season, guys. Really hit me hard that season. Defeat after defeat after defeat, man. I'm still recovering. So, look, let's go to the chat. What are people saying in the chat, guys? Let's have a look. So, Jimmy Hotspur is saying 6th and 8th. Let's see if there's any more comments in the chat. Could anyone see any? Lord Rodney Trotter says, I'm saying top 8 somewhere. A little bit general, but 8 minimum. Can't see any more comments. But look, what I want to talk about, there's just a couple more things to get into before we end the show, is the investment side of things. What is going on here? What do people believe? Where's the money coming from? What is going on? Oh, actually, guys, I've got to say goodbye to Deji. Deji, you got to jump, man. Yeah?
Yeah, no, big up, guys. Thank you. Great show. And,
cheers for coming on, Deji, man. Thanks for bringing the energy.
No, thank you. Cheers.
Please sub to Deji if you haven't, guys, in the chat. I'll get his link up. Yeah, so this whole takeover, not takeover, but investment, obviously with the interview with Levy and Vinay, and Levy saying, I want to win the league, I want to win the Champions League, and everybody's kind of laughing at that. But now we're spending the money. What is going on? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I mean, something is happening, right? That's all we know. The only thing that we do know is that something is happening, whether it's the naming rights and the investment or the investment, but something is going on. And I remember a while back when Lee McQueen on Last Word on Spurs, he mentioned that he was told that something is happening and people were laughing at him. But now it does seem like, you know, Levy's role is different. You know, Charrington on the board, just given, you know, Vinay coming in. I think all that was a signal that something is going on. So the things will never be the same. So I think in the next few months we'll find out slowly exactly what it is. But it's exciting. Again, whether it's the naming rights or whether it's the investment or both, all that I care about is that we have some money to spend. So that's exciting. But exactly what's happening, we'll see over the next few months.
Yeah, look, it's just, we just don't know, do we? It's all rumours at the moment. There was some company, what they called Acro or something like that, worth 23 billion pounds. Like, where's that come from? Is there, where do people find these stories from? I mean, I was watching Talk Sport, and a couple of, I can't remember, is it Crooks and another journalist are looking into it. They're carrying out an investigation into what is going on behind the scenes, and I haven't seen anything come out yet. Matt, any idea? Have you got any inkling?
I'm guessing again. This none of us are in the room, but I'm guessing a couple of things. I'm thinking finishing 17th in the league, obviously, is the headline. You know, so if you're Enoch, if you're Joe Lewis, you're looking at thinking, what? Like, you know, he's in this mansion yacht that travels all over Monaco and whatever else, and he's probably occasionally looking at the fixture list and looking at the league table. And for the last 5 to 10 years, we've been 4th, 5th, occasionally 8th, and he's thinking, yeah, nothing to see here, continue to steer the boat. And then all of a sudden, we're 17th, and he probably kind of like pull in, next chance you get, pull in. You know, what is going on? What is going on at Tottenham Hotspur? So the 17th, I think, made him think, whoa, what? So, Levy, whatever you're doing, undo. We need another pair of eyes. We need another pair of ears to look at how this has been run, because this isn't working. The naming rights for the stadium, so on and so on. There's so many things that haven't happened. And I think it potentially has caused this knee-jerk reaction. Cullen, Scott Munn, all of them out, new people in, and this 42% wage to turnover, we've pushed that too far. That is way too low. It's the lowest in Europe, not only in the Premier League, wage to turnover ratio. So we've been getting away with this for far too long. Also, I think winning the Europa League and the hullabaloo and all the kind of razzmatazz that brought, I think they thought, do you know what? We're a massive club. And maybe outside investors must have looked in and thought, if we can bottle that, what do we need to do? Well, we need to change the wages. We need to buy proper players, and we need to do it early. And I think it may be a contribution of these factors which has caused this on Tottenham, on Levy approach to the transfer window. We almost had to go down to ground zero, The place probably almost had to burn down for change to happen. While we were 4th, 5th, 6th, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. But 17th, not that we ever wanted to finish 17th, but we may, at a later date, thank Ange and go, by accident, you actually brought the change that Tottenham needed. Just a thought.
Hey, boy. Sorry, boys. I gotta run. The kids are back, so gotta take
All
care
right,
of
buddy.
that.
Thanks for joining us.
Nice talking to you, Matthew. Pleasure.
And
nice.
you.
Always
And
fun.
you.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers, man. No, I think you're right. I think it's really exciting currently, and I think that added to the excitement last week, wasn't it? It wasn't just the fact that we had two massive here we goes. It was the fact that there was all this takeover talk and all this new sponsorship and new investment, and it was all happening at once. And like, wow, look what Spurs are doing. And then suddenly this week it started to quieten down a bit. Obviously, Morgan got Gibbs-White deal not going through, and we've heard nothing more on this Aramco possible stadium naming rights thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next week or so. You would hope that something will come through and maybe it'll be announced, but it seemed like last week it was really close and the naming rights was imminent, and now suddenly we're hearing nothing again. And obviously the transfers have gone a bit quiet. Has only been a couple of days. I know as Spurs fans, we kind of want something every day, don't we? If we're not hearing something positive every day, we get negative again. But no, it's really exciting. And, it makes you wonder how much money we could actually possibly spend this summer. Do you think we got a lot more money to spend, Matt?
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think, just imagine, we've watched these movies where, Wall Street and these crisis meetings where, the stock market crashes and you go into these meetings and say, look, what do we have to do? How do we fix this? How do we fix this mess? Right, change the wage structure. And they must have made a list of do's and don'ts. And it's almost like they press the button and, like clockwork, two signings were announced within, a matter of hours of each other, big transfers. So I think they're trying to almost address what everybody knows. If you ask any opposing fan about Tottenham Hotspur, in the first or second sentence, they'll say your owner. What's wrong with Tottenham? But why don't Tottenham? They say your owner. You ask a Middlesbrough fan, they won't say, oh, well, within the first or second, they'll say your owner. Your problem is your owner. So there's no secret. So I think they've maybe finally just decided, do you know what? If we do spend 200 million, 250 million in July, not on August the 31st, if we get these players in before pre-season starts and they've got time to interact, learn formations, and get fit, maybe, just maybe, it will give us a better start for the season. So it's a combination of things. And maybe investors have looked at the Europa League win and thought, maybe we could get some of that. If we put some money into that, maybe we can transfer that to the Champions League. Who knows what might happen? What's the difference between, Tottenham being in the Europa League and the Champions League? I live in the Midlands, and Aston Villa, the moment they got in the Champions League, they went after Rashford, they got Asensio in. That's what Tottenham need to do, act like a proper club. Arsenal were out the Champions League for 4, 5, 6 years. The first season they were back in the Champions League, they signed Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Strike when the iron's hot. And finally, it looks like we're doing it.
Yeah, bang on.
And do you think Levy is going to take a step back? Is he finally going to step away from footballing matters and let Vinay take the reins, guys?
Without being in the boardroom and knowing for sure, it certainly looks that way at the moment. All the rumours we're hearing is that Levy is going to be taking a more hands-on approach to the business side and not so much the on-the-pitch stuff. So for me, it's all good. Listen, I saw you guys at the protest, obviously. The main reason I was at the protest is to get Levy to change. Wasn't necessarily to get him out. I wanted him to change. And however it's happening, it seems like so far he is changing. And whether it's been forced upon him or not, I don't know. But it's all good for me. And yeah, it seems like he may be taking a step aside, which is great.
Look, the proof is in the pudding. We finished 17th in the Premier League. So we cannot airbrush it, we cannot dress it up anything other than 17th. So somebody has to be accountable for that. Yes, it's easy, and I get it. But we've also got to look a little bit above and think, well, who hired him and who made some of these decisions? How can you allow Højbjerg, these players with proven Premier League experience, out the door and bring in one first-team player in Dominic Solanke and bring in Archie Gray and Bergvall? Yes, Bergvall ended up being a very good player in the second half of the season, but how can you be trying to compete on 4 fronts with one first-team player and letting go Højbjerg, who never missed a game through injury, and replacing him with Archie Gray? You're setting yourself up to fail, Yeah. So Levy's got there's no more buts, maybes. 17th, sit this one out. I think above us said to him, sit this one out.
Oh, I hope so. I hope times are changing at Spurs. I really do. And let's see what happens by the end of this transfer window. Start the season. Let's see what this team looks like going into next season. Guys, just one more quick thing I wanted to do before we end the show. And I'm just going to ask each Nige, Matt, and people in the chat just 3 questions and try and answer them as fast as you can. Yeah. So number 1 is one player that must be sold. Number 2 is one player that must be signed. And number 3, a weakness that remains in the squad. And the chat as well, come back on this. That would be great if you could give us your answers as well. Whoever wants to go first. Must be sold, must be signed, and a weakness that remains in the squad.
Must be sold for me. I will go with, sadly, Sonny. Just because I think we could probably get through.
I think you lost your Nige there.
And been fantastic servant. You got me now?
Yeah. You're back.
Yeah. Sonny for me. Been a great servant, but time to go. Must be signed, Morgan Gibbs-White. We need to get this over the line. And where we are still lacking, I think the obvious answer would be number 6, but I still think we need another striker.
So which one is it, Nige?
Class striker. Oh, I'll go 6.
Okay. So that's all the answers, yeah? Weakness and okay, I get you. I got you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Matt, got an answer for those three questions?
Must be sold Richarlison. Reason, I just think I like him. You know, he's a competitor. You know, you can never accuse Richarlison of lack of effort. You can never accuse him. Home and away, you can question his quality. You can question his availability, but he's a trier. But he's been with us 3 seasons now. And we just haven't had a return on our investment. So he must be sold.
Yeah.
And upgraded. Who we must sign is a number 6 and an experienced number 6. You know, as much as I like Wharton, and if we got him, then obviously I'm not going to turn him down. But I think we need, you know, 27, 28, 29-year-old that's got the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Paulinho ticks the box. He's Premier League proven. You know, played in Champions League, played in big games for Portugal. And I think he will bring men to your Archie Grays and your Bergvalls, and they will go up 10 or 15% just training with the guy, how serious he is about football. And weakness is we're too brittle. We're too, you know, if the ball don't go for us at the moment, and this isn't the system, so to speak, because I still think we have a soft underbelly under Conte. And under Jose, I think we just need a few more, you know, see you next Tuesday. So I think we need a couple of these guys that no matter what, I'm not taking less than 3 points. No matter how it happens, they're not taking less than 3 points. We need 2 or 3 of those to just come through the dressing room, come through the corridors, and just infect that mentality into the squad. So Paulinho is certainly one of them. Some battle-hardened footballers. You know, I can't think of a centre forward of that ilk at the moment, but
Wizard from Brentford, would you take him? Wizard from Brentford?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. He's infectious. 100%. Take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So for me, to kind of give this, I went to the protest in a Alleviate t-shirt. If we get Vissa, Paulinho, and Robinson, I'll have a t-shirt with Levy in, and I'll be at the have a beer with you two if that happens.
Look, man, both of you guys, and I'm going to go to the chat in a minute as well, and I'm also going to tell you what I think. But look, we finished 17th last year. We won the Europa League. It was a very crazy season, awful season, but finally winning the trophy after 17 years. It's great to hear some positive stuff. Really is. Wouldn't it be fantastic? And Nige, we've spoken about this going into next season. Wouldn't it be nice to come on, do some shows and talk about some wins, talk about some good performances? And I think we will do a lot better next season. Definitely will. Not saying it's going to be perfect. We're going to lose games, of course, but we're going to be more competitive. We're not going to be so easily beaten. Hopefully these signings will get over the line, whoever they are. But yeah, it's great to hear Matt and Nige. Yeah, it's good. And I'll go to the chat in a second. So for me, Richarlison's got to be sold. I think a player that must be signed is in the middle of the park, a number 6 type player. Exactly what Matt said, 100%. And the weakness in the squad, there's a few left back. I mean, I know I'm only supposed to give one, so I think it's that middle of the park is the weakness, is the main weakness, isn't it? It's someone playing next to Bentancur, Basuma, Sarr, Bergvall, Gray, somebody in there who's really going to raise the levels of the team, that experience, that winner, that know-how, and when it knows how to get dirty, when the going gets tough, like rally the guys, it's a crucial position for me. So that's my 3 answers. So let's go to the chat. Now. Lord Rodney Trotter, Richie, Paulinho, left winger and striker. Again, that is a weakness. We all have to hope that Frank can get something out of Tell. He's agreed to the signing. So now it's up to Frank to kind of get more output out of Tell. He's still young, but he needs a bit of work. He's not a winger, is he, really, Tell? He's more of a kind of inside forward. He needs to be closer to goal. All we could do as fans is obviously we will get behind him. He's here, of course. Was I happy about it when I heard the news? No, I wasn't. I thought we could do better, but he's here now. We'll see what Frank does with him. And again, let's go to somebody else. Gouldy talks Tottenham. Evening to you. Richarlison sold. Water must be signed. Great shouts. And a new goalie. So a little bit different there. Doesn't rate Vicario. I think let's see how Vicario gets on next season, because Frank will like a strong keeper, right? Someone who's, in the set pieces, defend those set pieces, organised. There's a new goalie coach coming in, all right, I've heard as well. I mean, look, yeah. I think we could do better for Vicario, but I don't think he's a priority right now. I think maybe we'd look at that next season, possibly, guys. Would you reckon?
Yeah, I think next season.
He's got a little bit. No, go on. Sorry, Nige. Go on.
Mate. I was going to say, for me, not this season, but next season, I'd be looking to replace him. I think he's a great shot stopper, but I do think that Frank likes to play out from the back. The keepers that he's had at Brentford were good with their feet, and I think that he will need that in a keeper. So for me, not this season, but maybe next.
It's under review. Go on, Matt. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I'm with you, Nige. I think he's a very good shot stopper. I think his reflexes are second to none. But I think he's got a little bit of the Aurelio Gomez. He gets them wide eyes sometimes, and he panics. If there's a couple of players around him, he gets a little bit, traffic warden. The hands start flapping, and he gets a bit. And sometimes someone needs to say, just calm down. The perfect example is the heroic clearance by Van der Ven, where it's a simple free kick, and he kind of Solanke's next to him, and he kind of, it's a bread and butter catch. Just come and claim it. But because Solanke's close to him, the traffic warden arms start going, and it bobbles off him.
I like that. Traffic warden arms.
Just calm down. Remember Gomez was the same. He'd pull off a world-class save, and then a simple kind of ball into the box, he'd flap, and it'd be in the back of our net. So less Aurelio Gomez, just calm down. But yeah, maybe next season, because I know Martinez at Villa is getting itchy. He almost left this transfer window, but now they've sold the women's team back to themselves. I don't think they need to sell a player. But if I could get Martinez this time next season for Vicario, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Fair enough. I think, as I said, I think he's under review next season to see how he gets on by Frank. Marco says Richie was and a 6. Good shouts. Jimmy Hotspur, Son Eze and a striker. Yeah, I do think we need something else other than Solanke up there. Can't play the whole season. We need another option up front. If Richie you can't rely on. Audio Artisan, sell Richie, signed a defensive midfielder, and the weakness is the goalie. So another one about the goalie. So he's a concern amongst fans. Razzle Dazzle, Basuma sold, Matoma brought in. What a play if we brought him in, eh? That would really, really finish off our forward line. Him on the left, Kudus on the right. Oh, that'd be amazing. Maybe next season, possibly in the next transfer window. That's what we need to do. It doesn't end here, this window. If we do follow through, it's got to keep going. January, planning for next season. It's got to be a massive change in what we do with transfers. We've all been crying out for it. We've all been going through the process about it. Buy better players, improve the first team, up the levels of the squads, give competition, be more competitive, give us a better chance of winning things more regularly. I think so. 69, sell the Pigeon, Paulinho, and what's that one half team? I don't know if I read that right there. Half the team, maybe. Yeah, as a weakness. So. Yeah, I mean, Scott M was making me laugh earlier. He was listing a load of players that we should sell.
Everyone.
He's selling most of the team. It really made me laugh. Tell just signed him, but sell him. What's that? Inner Hype? Who's that? Juno Lukumi signed. Who is that? Sorry, I can't read it. My screen's gone really small.
That is.
£24 million clause, runs out 24 hours. Sell Ben Davis. I'll have to have a look him up. In a hype. Google it, Nige. Have a look.
I'm having a look on Twitter to see if we signed anyone. No.
Sign Noah Adjaya Sternberg. Sorry, don't know these guys. Don't know these ones. Sell with Charlison. This is the next one. Terry Wright, evening to you. Robinson, Morgan Gibbs-White, or Simmons, Wharton, Douglas Luiz, and let's go and fight for top 4. That's what we want, man. We want to get back in that top 4 at some point. Work towards it definitely next season. Up that league, man. We've got to improve that league position. I agree. Vicario for me next season would be more of a priority. Yeah. Let's see if there's any more in there. Lord Ronnie Trott says a better deputy this season. No, maybe he's talking about the keeper. We've got Kingsley who came in last season, young keeper in the hype. Signed per Coopermans. Yeah, I like Coopermans. Good player. Sell Sarr. Milton, evening to you. Need a 6 left back and striker. Great shouts. Guys, I don't know who these guys is coming up with tonight. I think it's maybe a bit of a funny one. 67, weakness 45-minute team. Yeah, look, that's another thing, isn't it? Last season we could barely put a kind of consistent performance in. We scored those goals in patches, right? Those little blasts of, where we could get 2 or 3 goals, but other than that, it was all a bit ropey. So definitely need to improve on that. Bologna centre back. Okay, thanks, Lord Ronnie Charles, for enlightening us. Yeah, cheers, man. Look, you're good with the bit of unknown players, so it's good though. That's what the club should be doing. The scouting department should be going to find, not potential players that are got some experience and can come in and help this first team straight away. And Milton, I reckon, give Mickey van der Ven the armband. I like Mickey van der Ven. I think definitely there's a lot more to come from him, and I think it's so good that now, we're not going to see him in that high line. We're going to see him having to defend the goal more. It's going to help his game. He's not going to be getting as many injuries as we've seen in the last couple of seasons. So much more to come from him, guys. Do you reckon, Van der Ven?
Yeah, I really like him. I think you like him, and he's just got a unique skill set. 6'4" and runs that quickly. You don't find left-sided centre halves, with that skill set. So yeah, I think he'll want to fix this injury curse that he's had at Tottenham. I think he'll pre-season. Thankfully, he's had no international football. That was my other worry. He would have had no break over the summer. So he's really been able to sit back and kind of, I'm sure the physio team have set him some stretches and some exercises for him to do during the closed season to kind of keep his hamstrings and so forth ticking over. So I'm expecting big things from him next year, next season, I think. And I know this is not always a barometer, but I think a team that's got Romero and Van der Ven is better than without them. So I think if we could keep them 2 fit for the big games and rotate Danso and the others in some of the others, and keep them fresh and sharp, then I certainly expect us to be much better in the defensive column next season.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to massively improve under Frank, I think so. And that's about the rotation, right? That's what Ange didn't get right, unfortunately, didn't he? Didn't do it early enough in the season. He had players like Radu there. He had players like Spence there, but didn't play them. Yeah. And it all caught up with him, didn't it, in the end throughout the season? Yeah. So, Nige, anything to add on that?
I'm really interested to see Van der Ven next season, see how he does in a lower block.
Yeah.
When he's not going to be using his explosive pace as much. And I tend to think that Frank likes defenders to defend. I actually think that Van der Ven might occasionally be used at the left back area. I think I got a feeling Danzo and the likes of Danzo and Dragishin might get more game time.
Yeah.
Just because they are.
Radu's out for a long time, isn't he? I've heard he's injured. I don't
he's
think
back running, isn't he? But
oh, is he? Well, that's good signs.
Yeah, they showed pictures of him running on the other
Okay.
day. But
So maybe he's
how
going to be
close
back
he is at the
sooner
moment.
than we thought. Question by Jimmy Hotspur. Quick, who do you think Frank will employ as a captain? Now, tricky one, isn't it? Because obviously Son's the club captain. What's Frank going to do? I just don't think he will take him off as captain. Do you? I mean, I would prefer a better captain. And I will go to the chat and I think Inner Hype said Van der Ven for captain to another one for him as captain. Mickey or Danso as captain. I think Euro 67 saying, guys, captain, who is there right now? Captain material other than, you've got the Madison who's what is it called? The second captain, Romero, what did he call them? The group of captains, Ange had him, didn't he?
The leadership group or
The
something
leadership
like that.
group, that's it. Yeah,
the leadership
silliness,
group.
yeah.
Yeah. I think Romero probably just his experience, World Cup winner and so forth. I think.
What about the English though? The English speaking, is that an issue?
Yeah, could be. But it all hinges on Son. If after that, the pre-season in Asia, because obviously he's contractually obligated, he's got to go, hasn't he? So after that, I don't know if they're going to have a sit down and see where he is physically. As average as he's been last season, his stats aren't that bad. Sons, just looking at it, just goals and assists. Obviously, it's a drop off from his previous seasons, but if you look at his stats, is it 7 or 8 goals in the league? And I think he's like his GA is about 18 his GA is 20 in all competitions, Son. But it's a significant drop off of when he was anywhere near his best. But I think, as you say, if we are a proper club, respectfully, you sit down with him in the summer and say, look, you're going to be an ambassador player. You're going to play 30 minutes here or there, but I don't see you in my best 11, and have that mutual conversation and see if they can shake hands.
Yeah. I mean, look, Romero in the chat is quite popular. I get it. He's a winner. He's I don't know. And then Vicario as well. Let me bring up the comments. I mean, he is a vocal one, but I don't know. We haven't got really a clear-cut one there, have we? Someone who's like definitely a captain material.
There's our problem. Our problem. We don't even have a go-to captain.
We don't. Well, it's true, isn't it? Really, there's nobody there where you could go, oh, he's definitely him. There's potential captains, isn't there? But I just think we had such a rough season, didn't we, last year? I
think Jimmy makes a good point. But I don't think it'd be this season. He says, what about Morgan Gibbs-White as captain if it goes through? I think possibly next season. I don't think it'd be this coming season.
No,
I think it'd be Romero this season.
Yeah, if his son goes, it could be Romero. Okay, guys. Any other final points of the evening before we wrap up? Oh, actually, one more point. One more point, and it's kind of like the title of the show. I should have said it. So right now, is this window hope or hype? And people in the chat, let us know what you think.
Hope currently for me. We've brought in one good player so far. There's been a lot of hype about the players we're bringing in, but we have actually only got one player, proper first team player over the line. So for me at the moment, it's still hope.
Look, you take movement over silence, right? And there has been, a lot of kind of movement. I haven't got it over the line, but we can't confuse noise with progress, right? So we got to get these players in, right? We have to get them in. We've got to see them. Yeah, it's still a lot to do. So I am cautious still. I'm loving all these stories and all of that, but I need to see those players come in and into the team. And then I can believe it. I'm sorry, just being a Spurs fan for all these years, full storms and all of that. let's go to the chat. Sorry, Nige, you said hope. Matt, what did you say? I don't think you
I think hope. I think simply because of the 55 million deal for Kudus and the fact that we have triggered a 60 million pound release clause that would normally take us 3 months to get to that stage under a normal transfer window. The fact we've done that in the second week of July, it has to be hope. And the fact that we're also off credible reporters, open conversations with Bayern Munich, with open conversations with Crystal Palace. This is no longer the Walker Peters and Sirkin type players, which I thought was Daniel Levy all over on free transfers. The fact that we're going after 50, 60 million pound players in the same week, it's hope for sure.
Fair enough. Terry in the chat says hope. Razzle dazzle hope. Milton is hype. He's going different. Hope. Jason, evening to you. Lord Ronnie Trotter, hope at the moment. Jimmy, hope most definitely. Gouldy talks Tottenham. Hope, even more hope if Levy gets pushed aside. Yeah, even more hope. I like that one. That's funny. Judo67, hope is back for me after the last season and halves football. Looking forward to Thomas Frank football. Look, I think most of the fans now are looking forward to Thomas Frank. And let's end it on there, guys. Look, let's big up to everybody in the chat. Thank you for watching the show. Really appreciate your comments. And guys, if you haven't smashed a like, please do. If you haven't subscribed to Nige, please go over to Nige's channel and give him a sub. If you haven't subscribed to me, please subscribe to myself. Nige, Matt, thanks so much for coming on. And Matt coming on tonight. So we had Deji earlier and Eugene as well. Brilliant stuff. So we really appreciate you coming on, Matt.
Thank you.
Just a few more good stuff. Big up, good stuff, Mark Swift. Big up, Audio Artisan. Big up, Lord Rodney Trotter. Razzle dazzle, guys. You've been here the whole show, man. Really appreciate it, guys. Everybody who's joined tonight, and that's it. Really, we'll be back beyond the lane, Nige. Probably now. We don't know. We'll see what happens, but probably it's not that far away now to the starting. Yeah, it's not that far now until I was looking at the calendar. Have you got anything planned, Nige, coming up in stream wise? Let the guys know.
I'm doing a breakfast with pure Coys tomorrow morning at 8:30, just for a quick 45 minutes. So if you want to join me for breakfast, that'd be great. And I am recording a show tomorrow morning that will be out later tomorrow evening with Luke from Spotlight on Spurs.
Nice. What's the theme? I'll surprise us.
Well, it's the second episode of The State of Spurs, so it will be generally pretty much the same as tonight, just chatting, but it will be recorded and then released later.
Oh, nice. Good stuff, man. And the weekend? Got anything?
Weekend? Well, we're at Savers at the weekend, aren't we? So I think it's probably a few lives from Savers' place, maybe.
Yeah. Yes. Savers barbecue. Yeah. That's going to be interesting, eh? Good fun. I've got next week, got Inside Spurs Minds with Holly Hotspur. And then the week after that, I'm on holiday. So yeah, and then I think it's almost close to the start of the season. So, I've got another Inside Minds as well. First week of August with Jim from Also Spurs. So yes, I'm looking forward to those shows. And I think, Nige, what we'll probably do is the week before the season starts, we'll do Beyond the Lane. Getting ready for the season. Yeah. And the squad will start to see, what it looks like a bit more. But look, big up to everybody in the chat. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. And as always, come on, you Spurs.